David.
Afternoon, David. Hi guys, how you all doing?
Why don't you give them an update on your health situation while I Facebook?
Yeah, okay. I'm basically still in my hospital bed. I'm waiting on the cut to heal up, and once I get the cut healed up, and make it the right sort of shape, because believe it or not, I have a stocking on my leg. It's very sexy if you want to see it. And that creates the stump. That makes the stump a certain shape, and it means they can take a cast of it and create the prosthesis that I need.
Yep.
Simple as that.
So you have a few more weeks in there to go then, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. It might be they make me wait the few weeks in my own home, providing they can make the home friendly enough for me in a wheelchair.
Aye.
That's all.
So. Never mind the wheelchair, get a bloody crutches.
Yes.
That's what you want. Right. We'll get Facebook aboard. Guten Tag, Elizabeth. Wie geht's?
Yep.
We're there in Germany. We get Kevin in. Mags McLachlan. Tina. James. Good afternoon, James. It was nice to see you yesterday at the hospital. James popped in to see me and David yesterday. He works in the Death Star, as they call it. The Death Star. But there's, it's actually quite a modern facility, isn't it, David?
Yeah.
It's a really nice hospital. That room you're in is really quite well equipped as well.
Well, no, but it'll be nice when it's finished. You know, it's the amount of building work that's going on in the main atrium, you know.
Aye, I know. That was to do with that cladding, David.
Yeah.
Even though it was inside the building, it had to be changed.
Yeah.
You know. I suppose we better think about talking about some of the things that have been going on lately, yeah? Or we just shoot the breeze today?
Not so many things in Scotland, but there's been one or two things as we look further afield.
There's going to be 5 things in the Scottish section of the show. Right, it's the Two Davies on the 16th of the 5th, 2024. And before we kick off, David, our best wishes to Richard Lockhart, who is in Aberdeen Royal Infirmary, having been transferred from Grays in Elgin. He's undergone major surgery. We don't know what the major surgery was, but apparently he's in the intensive care unit on the road to recovery. So Richard's been a hard-working member of the Scottish Government for a long time, and we wish him well.
Hopefully he's all right.
Aye, and best wishes to him. I hope Fiona and the family are all right, and all his family are all right, because they've obviously had the scare, you know.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. So, Monday, you and I get out of bed in the morning is legitimate. A pro-independence activists, and by bedtime, we are extremists. Now, we've had the politicians here in Scotland now react. Stephen Flynn tackles Sunak on behalf of half the population of Scotland and Prime Minister's questions, and demands that Sunak apologises for lumping the Scots, or 50% of the Scots, in with despots like Putin, the Ayatollah of Iran, and Kim Jong-un. So he compared Scottish nationalists to Russians, Iranians, and North Koreans. So, of course, Sunak didn't apologise. What Sunak did was remind Mr. Flynn that the raison d'etre of the SNP is to break the union, is to leave the union. Which sometimes I think you and I and others looking at that shower down that road think that's not their day. I mean, on that reply of no apology, I'd have just said to the gang, right, let's go. That'd be it. I'd have said to the gang, let's go. We'll go and discuss what we're going to do about this muppet. And as I said to the Speaker, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, me and my deputation are waiting to see what we're going to do about this. and watch the bottle crash right out the fucking place. You know? I mean, when Ian Blackford did it, everyone went into meltdown. The Scots have left, the Scots have left, what are we going to do? The Scots have left. That's power. That's a power that should be exercised regularly. And then they should come back after they've made their deputation, the deputation made a decision about what they're going to do, and announce what they're going to bloody well do. Anyway, John Swinney. John gets in on the act, doesn't he? He said that Sunak had used a very poor choice of words. Well, we'll have a listen to see what John had to say, shall we? Well, I put it up.
Aye, go on.
Okay, screen share. Right, hopefully this will play. You and I should now be down in the corner, aye.
I think the Prime Minister's reference was poorly judged, very poorly judged. I don't think it helps to assist civilised, reasonable debate in our society. There's just absolutely no relationship between all of these different classifications that he linked Scottish nationalists to. And I want to make sure we have respectful debate. I'm fed up with disrespectful debate in our politics, and I think the Prime Minister's contribution slotted in directly to disrespectful debate. So I think he should apologise. I think he should withdraw his remarks. I think they're foolish remarks, and they don't help having reasoned debate in our society.
Bit quiet, David.
We're a bit quiet, I'm sorry, but very grown up, was it no?
Yes, but the thing is, though, that's what John Swinney's good at. He's good at the very adult, reasoned wisdom, if you like, and that's why people listen to him. But to be honest with you, right now in the Scottish Parliament, we should be looking for a Tommy Sheridan, Stephen Flynn. Somebody that's able to actually get them and cut right through and get the bastards. Yeah.
Aye, anyway, it comes up again on debate night and the BBC. And Leslie Riddoch challenges Minor Noble, who is the Highlands and Islands List MSP, Edward Mountain, over it. Now, he's a Scottish Tory.
Yeah.
And what he had to say was he doesn't believe that Leslie or any of the rest of us are extremists for holding the legitimate view that he doesn't agree with. But he does agree with Sunak that Scottish independence is a threat to the Union, to the United Kingdom. Well, actually, the terms they're using are incorrect, of course, David. As you and I know, the United Kingdom is only Scotland and England. It doesn't apply to the rest.
That's right.
And, of course, Scotland becoming an independent country again wouldn't affect the kingdom whatsoever. It would go from being a single realm back to being two realms under Charles until we had a referendum to get rid of the Waza, which of course we would intend to do. You and I being Republicans.
Yeah.
You know. But so Mr. Edward Mountain's contribution to say that Scottish nationalism is a threat to the UK, it's no. It's a threat to the state, Great Britain. And some of these things really do demand nothing. Hi, Lorraine. Thanks for that information. Hey, some of these things really demand nothing. You know, when they talk about Great Britain as a country and things like that, you know, it annoys me. It really does. Right, it seems the Governor General's been flexing his muscles again. Alistair Jack's telling us to get used to muscular unionism.
Yeah.
He also tells us that he was right to take them on. Now, the them he's talking about is all the MSPs, no matter what party, in the Scottish Parliament. He also says he was right to take them on and use the 1998 Scotland Act and the override clauses put in it by Westminster to prevent the Scottish Parliament from embedding the human rights of our children into Scots law. He used Section 33 for that. And as we know, with the GRR bill, which was also a cross-parliament approved bill, he used Section 35 to veto that. And as you know, David, about out of all the sections, I think about 15 of them give Westminster an override clause on devolution.
Yeah, just where he can press the button and go, right, that's not going through.
And the other thing is,
I'll tell you the best answer with this blooming Alistair Jack, to make sure, to ensure that he does not get elected again.
he's not standing, David. He's going straight into the Lords.
Well,
That's the second part of what he's telling us about the muscular unionism being here to stay. Because he wants a grand committee set up in the Lords to oversee every bit of devolved legislation the Scottish Government, no matter what hue it is, passes.
Well, that being the case, I want to see a grand committee set up in Scotland to oversee what's been done in the Lords, unelected Lords.
Well, there's not a grand committee set up in Scotland to have a look at what's been done in fucking Westminster, complete, including the members.
Yep. So let's have a battle of the grand committees.
What Alistair's telling us is, the serious side to what he's telling us is, even though he will be Secretary of State for Scotland after this election, he's telling us that muscular unionism is here to stay.
Yeah.
They're basically telling us that devolution is over. He's telling us there has to be more scrutiny of the devolved areas controlled by the Scottish Parliament. Now, they told us just after the referendum in 2014, Neil Davison, or Donaldson, who is a Glasgow West MSP,
Davison.
because it was left to Davis to haul out the Scottish Parliament and ban it wounded. Ban it wounded and haul out the Scottish Parliament until it was nothing more than the talking shop. They'd be as well holding it above a pub, is what he said. And that's exactly what's happening. So much for better together and promises of the route to federalism, or just a small smidgen away from federalism. I think that's the term that Gordon Brown used. We were told in 2014 we wouldn't recognise, but 2017 we wouldn't recognise in Scotland in 2014 there would be that many powers transferred. There have been no powers transferred, and the Parliament's been fucking hollowed out.
Yeah, well, I think Gordon Brown, we've heard just about enough of him.
Aye, he's got a lot to answer for. He should actually be in court for misusing his position in public office and lying to the poor Scottish people.
He's just a gobshite, David. That's all he is. End of story.
Anyway, the next story is about Jack and all. Mr. Jack has told the Energy Minister in England to go ahead and procure land for a nuclear reactor in Scotland. As you know, the Scottish people and the Scottish Government don't want anything to do with nuclear, which means either one of two things. The Labour Party, who are about to come in and create Great British Energy, apparently, are going to muscle in on our planning laws, basically stick the planning laws out of the Scottish Parliament and out of the councils. As they are doing in England, you do know that, David, don't you? They're passing a bill down there to take planning out of the hands of the councils, aye?
Yeah, I know that, but not in Scotland.
No, but that's what's coming.
Yeah.
Or, and the other thing he says is, what he tells the Energy Minister is there will be a unionist government in Scotland in 2026. Or it'll be the planning laws that are coming after. Right? Now, what we do know is that the Tories are going to be wiped out here in Scotland. So that means either Labour's going to win, or if the Tories are not wiped out, Labour and the Tories and the Lib Dems are probably going to make up a unionist coalition. Because it's quite clear from what Jack's telling us, looking at the polls, the only way there could be a unionist government along that road right now, if the election was tomorrow, would be if the Tory, Labour and Lib Dem go into bed with each other to create a grand coalition of unionist government. And that's what Jack's telling us we're getting. So there seems to be plans involved.
What about the Greens? I mean, if we put them in the mix, where are they going to sit? Are they going to jump in with the Tories, Labour, and Lib Dem to create that rainbow paradise of a
Depends on what David, it depends on what they're being offered. They've made it clear. Independence isn't a red line for them. They're quite happy to work with unionist politicians.
Yeah, I know. Oh.
But John Swinney pulled the rug out from under them all.
Yeah.
Because he says he wants to work in collaboration across the parliament. Well, he's no fucking choice. He's running the minority government.
Yeah.
You know, so he wants more consensus politics. He's not getting it. There's some things that I think these politicians don't get. This society is polarised on the one question that's not going to go away. And nothing will be advanced properly until this question is answered definitively. And there is only one definitive answer for this question. Because let's face it, we've been chasing it for 300 years.
Yeah.
With the Lothian question, was it West or East Lothian question? How do we solve the Scottish problem? Scotland's not a fucking problem, Westminster's a problem. We get squatters in our land running it, stealing the resources. Wow. So Jack has told the Energy Minister to fuck what the Scots want, because the people of Scotland unanimously don't want any Davie nuclear power or weapons. Unanimously. But they're just saying, fuck the Scots. We'll build what we want and do what we want. Fuck them. Never mind what they want. They'll do what they're told. That uppity colony up that road will do what it's bloody well told.
I think the viewers are starting to take in where we're coming from in this. We're taking it very, very much from the side of that's what the unionists are going to be saying to us. But the most important thing is what we're going to be saying back to the unionists. And we've got two choices here. We've always had two choices. Either take it forward, become an independent country, or just put our tails between our legs and walk away.
Aye. Now, they say, but Jack's making it quite clear in the two articles he's penned the next couple of days that muscular unionism is what the way it's going to go.
Let him fucking blow his blooming brains as far as that's concerned.
Right.
You know, in every newspaper in the land, put in what he likes. It's what the Scottish people say that's important, not him.
Now, here's the thing about minority government, David. It means that sometimes you're going to take a pounding. And yesterday, there was a bill passed, or there was a motion put before the Scottish Parliament to say that there's a housing crisis here in Scotland. Oof, if there's a housing crisis here in Scotland, there must be a bloody emergency in England. Because over the last 17 years in power, the SNP have built roughly 8,400 houses a year, 100,000 houses. Right? That's per capita. Right? That's per capita, per head of population. England's got 11 times more people live there.
Yeah.
And in the last 14 years, they've only built 4,300 houses a year. Affordable homes a year. Now, what we had yesterday was a prime example of a unionism at its worst. At its worst. We had them slaughter the Scottish government who are slashing the budget for building affordable homes, knowing fine well that the budget's being slashed down the road. And then, of course, the disastrous handling of the economy and the fact that pay negotiations were during the highest point of inflation last year means that public sector got huge pay rises. But that's not a one-off expense, David. That's a chunk that's gone through public purse every year.
Yeah.
Do we want people, when these pay rises were being put on the table, we said they deserved them, but there's cuts coming. Well, this is one of the areas where the cuts have been in the infrastructure budget when it comes to things like social housing. So they've decided there's a housing emergency and they've come up with ways of, and they're thinking about ways of alleviating the problem. They're talking about compulsory purchase orders. For people who now own swathes of council housing and are renting them out, or people who bought council houses. But that's not going to answer the problem, David, as you and I know, because I own an ex-council house. I didn't buy it for the council, I bought it in the market, but I own one, right?
Yep.
So do you. Now,
Yeah.
if there's compulsory purchase orders to take my house back, where the fuck am I going to live? I don't think they've thought this one through. If the Barnshire Council decides compulsory purchase order, they'll take your house off you. Where the fuck are you going to live?
Tell you what.
House anyway, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. The Bartonshire Council are only big enough to do something like that.
I can assure you, not Lanarkshire Council's the intention of doing that to me. For reasons you and I know why.
Yeah.
We'll not go into that here. Let's just say it would cause a family emergency if North Lanarkshire Council come near my fucking house. Okay. So, this is the problem. You know, we get Jack penning letters telling us that the reason why he wants scrutiny of our legislation is because bad legislation leads to bad governance, and the Scots are too stupid to legislate for themselves. So we need to supervise it. Now, as I say, the housing thing, you're going to take it's a punch and Judy show along in that Parliament, do. And John's looking for consensus. He's wasting his fucking time. The best thing John could do is fucking call an election and hope to get an even bigger majority, or hope to get a majority, because at this point in time, that Parliament of Lanyard is now dysfunctional. And the minority government, as you know, David, they're at risk.
Yep.
You know, the Parliament is no longer stable because of the end of the coalition with the Greens. It was the right thing to do, but we should have waited to the end of this Parliament to do it. You and I discussed this. You know, it was the right thing to do, get shot of the Greens, but it should have been at the end of this Parliament.
Yes. Correct.
Because that was left us with stable government at least until the end of the Parliament. Now we've got an unstable Parliament which could collapse at any point in time on a unionist whim, and if the Greens get pissed off.
Yeah. Let's just keep it as one thing. Sorry about this.
Tell them they're a legend.
Yeah. Hamza Yusuf should consider himself well and truly admonished over this one.
Aye.
He should not have caused the Stushy to the point of breaking up the coalition between the SNP and the Greens before the end of the Parliament. Simple as that.
Or he should have let the Greens there.
Yeah.
Because they were having a vote the following Thursday on it anyway.
Yeah.
Where they're having to shift the net zero targets.
Yeah.
Shifting net zero targets is also budgetary.
Yeah.
You know, you can't put the money into reaching net zero if the money's being cut for your budget.
Yeah.
As I say, an example we've just had is the terrible management of the UK economy leading to inflation of 11% during public pay sector fucking negotiations. The purse was going to take a battering. And now, of course, we're starting to see the side effects of it affect public services right across Scotland. Those jobs that we were saying, when you're getting that massive pay rise, maybe you want to look at each other's eyes and ask who's gone. Well, now we're starting to find out who's gone. You know, social housing's been sacrificed. In Glasgow and other councils, the amount of teachers are going to have to be cut. You know, we'll see social services suffer. You know, and that's all down to their bad management. But what they're shouting at the Scottish government is you're no investment, you're no investment, you're no investment. What they're no pointing out to the Scottish people is, actually, you fucks are cutting our budget, we can't invest. And of course, we've got such poor quality journalism right across these islands, not just in Scotland. But you're not going to get the press pointing the obvious out to them either. You know? I mean, we've got a 5% year-on-year cut to the Scottish budget, and that will continue to the end of this Parliament and beyond. Just not on. Right, what else we got? You want to take a run down that road to England?
Do I have to?
Not really. I'll push you. Starmer's at it again, David, with new pledges for its first 5 years in government. They're interesting, to say the least, because none of the stuff that was in his 10 pledges to steal the Labour Party's there.
Yeah.
Fuck all his 5 missions are there.
Yeah.
And we're back on pledges.
It's so stupid. It's
When did
stupid
you get
that they're
to the
being
point-
taken for that.
When did you get to the point where politicians and parties stopped putting policies before people and started putting pledges before them? Who ever heard of a party getting elected on pledges?
Yeah.
Well, you get elected on fucking policy.
Yeah.
If the democracy is running properly, we all read the manifestos and pick the party we think which is going to serve the nation best. That's how it's supposed to work. Anyway, no, there's no policy for Labour, there's pledges. And the 6 pledges are as follows, David. Deliver economic stability. No economic growth, because that's not possible, as you know, because of the Brexit carry on and another insular world. So stability. So many the same. Right. Cut NHS waiting times. We know their answer to that is to just privatise it. That's their answer to it. What they're saying is we'll use the private sector to take up, we'll use private sector capacity to cut these wait times. The private sector, as you and I know, David, doesn't have any capacity because the consultants and doctors in the private sector also work in the NHS at the same time. So there is no capacity in health services here. There is no spare capacity in health services on these islands anywhere, whether it be in a private hospital or in a NHS hospital. Right. Launch new border security command. He's going to stop the boats, people. Starmer's stopping the boats. We know you're this for Sunak. Stop the boats. Well, this is Starmer's stop the boat pledge. Launch new border security command. We're going to stop the boats. Set up Great British Energy. I wonder how the private sector and the big 6 will take that. You ever see this one getting off the ground, David?
No.
Okay.
I'm also, David, do forgive me. I'm also reading some of the quite funny comments that are coming up at the side here.
Aye.
So
if you get any that's really funny, yeah, I should put them up.
I'll tell you, put it up. Don't worry.
Aye, set up Great British Energy.
Yes, Great British Energy.
Aye, and then there's a wee map they put up where they expect all the energy to come from to fuel Green Britain. All happens to be north of the fucking border, by the way. Crack down on antisocial behaviour.
I suppose antisocial behaviour, you could say, is people with extremist tendencies, like us.
Protest or public protest.
Yes.
Because I don't know where these people live, but antisocial behaviour is not a problem where I live. Is it a problem where you live?
No.
And recruit, by the way, some of these are England only, these pledges that Mr. Starmer's made. This one, recruit 6,500 teachers.
Yeah.
Education is devolved to Scotland and Wales.
Yeah.
Cut waiting times in the NHS is also only relevant to England. And crack down on antisocial behaviour must only be relevant in England because it doesn't seem to be a problem here. In fact, we'll get crime at a 43-year low.
Do you know something? You used to hear about people being charged with antisocial behaviour, right?
Aye.
I haven't heard about that in maybe 15 or 20 years, I don't think.
Oh, a wee bit longer. The rowdy protests of the 70s and the 80s, it was quite a common offence. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a mate of mine actually got charged and done with it. And it was just because we were in a barbecue with a few beers at the back. That was it. You know.
Just being a wee noisy barbecue at the back of Saturday, somebody's complaining, so it's antisocial behaviour.
Aye.
I know what the ASBO was all about.
Aye. Was that?
They introduced that stupid ASBO thing down that road, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Mental. Anyway, this one's quite a bad story for doing that road, actually, and it's going to hit universities here as well. And that is universities in England face closure with 40% running deficits, says new study by the Office of Students, whatever the fuck that is. Anyway, apparently, the problem is that they've been too reliant on overseas students to plug the gap on domestic students not being able to afford to go to university. But most of these overseas students were coming from Europe. And guess where they're not coming from now? Europe. So they're looking at up to 40% of universities down there either going into mergers to stay afloat or gone bust.
Right.
Having the line of credit cut off by the banks because there's no viable anywhere. And I'm sure the banks would love to get their hands on all that student accommodation. So
where'd I go with that one? The problem is, David, you know, the student loans, the way they work, you only end up, the majority of students will only end up paying about 9% of the total.
Aye.
Like if they're on a standard setup and all the rest of it, right? But people coming from Europe will pay the full amount.
Yes.
Right, and that's it. So therefore, if it's 20 grand or 50 grand or whatever, that's what they'll pay.
Aye.
So.
Aye, as I said, this was predictive, David. The education sector told them when it was coming up to the Brexit vote, look, this is going to be devastating to your sector.
Yeah, well.
Especially as tuition fees have got higher and higher and higher, and the cost the pound in your pocket has become worth less and less and less. Poorer students can't afford to go to university doing that.
Well, to be honest with you, Labour shouldn't have introduced it in the first place.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
All right. This one's a wee comedy interlude, David. The Minister for Common Sense. Let that slip into your head. In Westminster, they have.
Is he the guy that sits beside the Minister for City Centre toilets?
No, it's a she. It's Esther McVeigh. Anyway, the Minister for Common Sense down that road has went to war on lanyards.
Lanyards?
Lanyards.
Yep. The things that hang around your neck with your the badge, so you click in.
Right.
Right.
It shows you how petty things are put down there. You know, they've had to call in the Minister for Common Sense to sort out our lanyard habits. Was that for fucking real? It was all in the papers, all in the telly. Minister for Common Sense goes to war on lanyards. For fuck's sake. Hello, England. See, when we're looking down there for out here, we find some of this stuff very hard to believe. Esther McVeigh, well done.
Yeah, I noticed that one. That was good. Very good.
I mean, David, I'm fucking speechless. A Minister for Common Sense got
come on.
And apparently she doesn't like rainbow lanyards. She doesn't like lanyards that don't advertise the agency or the business you're working for.
Yes.
So apparently you've noted wear a Palestinian style lanyard, a rainbow lanyard, anything that depicts a political cause or a cause you believe in. So there you go.
Plain white or plain black.
It's short about freedom of speech, isn't it? The freedom of expression. You can't express your support for something in your clothing, according to the Minister for Common Sense. But how low does politics get down that road? That a news story this week was the Minister for Common Sense goes to war on lanyards. Hello, England! Are you fucking listening to yourselves? Oh, Coach, I don't even know if that counts towards the culture wars, David. I suppose it is. A war on lanyards, you naughty, rainbow-wearing lanyard ponces. Yeah. Get your lanyards either black or white, plebs.
The response to that should be that everybody should then go out and get Palestinian lanyards, the Palestinian colours, something like that, right? And therefore tell the individual concerned that we're not interested in what you say.
Hey, DJ Martin says, my lanyard is for independence and they can stick their common sense minister. But the mere fact that they've got a common sense minister just tells you the host the fucking
Yeah, I
plot.
know. Oh, no, David. On the day when like Richie Strack was forming his new government, he had a poke, right? And he
Aye.
was lying out, oh, it's common sense. Oh, there you are. You take that one, right? Okay.
Department of Work and Pensions, oh, you did that one. Minister of Defence, you did that one.
City centre toilets. Oh, yeah, definitely. There we go, right?
Oh, honestly, Christ, man. You just couldn't make it up.
I know you couldn't. Yeah.
You really could not make it up. As I say, as you're looking for news stories down that road, I mean, there's plenty of big stuff around, and they decide to go on lanyards and Esther McVeigh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, let's move on because I've had enough of comedy for that section. Minister for Common Sense, for fuck's sake. Anyway, Sunak's in the shite again, isn't he? There is Rwanda bill.
Yeah. Aye. No, let's get stuck into this one well and truly.
Aye, go. Once again,
I'll let you have the first crack at it. Go on.
Well, once again, when writing legislation down that road, they don't think about the devolved areas at all. And in this case, it's Northern Ireland. Because the High Court of Northern Ireland has told Westminster, sorry, I'm afraid that some of the sections in this bill impinge on human rights which are guaranteed in the Good Friday Agreement. So either change the Rwanda bill or disapply these sections of the Rwanda bill in Northern Ireland, which of course the DUP is not going to like because it means that all the refugees that don't want to go to Northern Ireland, don't want to go to Rwanda, or camp in Northern Ireland so they can't be put on points to Rwanda. So the DUP won't like that.
No, but David, the most important thing is it shows you how all these things are interlinked.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Effectively, what he could do is he could throw away the Good Friday Agreement. Now, I'm sure that would be an interesting thing to do. Yeah.
Yep. As I say, but what's going to happen now is they'll get here, they'll go straight to Northern Ireland, where the sections that allow people to be put on points to Rwanda won't be able to come into force because of the Good Friday Agreement. But as I say, the whole point of what the story is, once again, the idiots in Westminster write legislation without thinking about the other parts of the UK while they're doing it. It shows you that Westminster is dysfunctional as the seat of power for a union because it doesn't think about its union partners when it's writing legislation.
Yeah.
Now, when we get down to reasons for independence, as you and I know, the main thrust towards independence in Scotland is for better governance.
Yeah.
This is a good example of bad governance. No understanding the constituent parts of the state you're supposed to be running. Woofed.
If any of you have Netflix or one of these downloadable type programs, get Yes Prime Minister.
Oh, the old
and watch that all the way through, and you'll understand the way the Tories wake up. They wake up in the morning and go, I've got a good idea. And that's it. And they'll spend the whole day pushing this idea for all the worth. And if somebody actually backs them, then that's it. It's a goer, It's stupid. It's so stupid. They are so stupid.
Well,
and yet they are some of the most well-educated people in the country.
Not anymore, David. Not anymore, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Look at that latest crop of goons. They've all got art history degrees, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, the thing about Westminster is you learn quite a bit about how the system works. Or did work then, but it's basically the same now. And you find out that it's actually the permanent secretaries in the civil service, in the ministries, who wield all the powers, actually.
Yeah.
The minister will come up with a daft idea, and the permanent secretary say, good idea, but it'll not work because, and that's basically why nothing ever gets fucking done, because the ministers are stupid, And the civil servants that are supposed to put this stuff into action are looking at them as if to say, "You fucking mad." I mean, we'll get the Home Office civil service taking the Home Office to court who are being made complicit in breaking international law with the Rwanda bill. You couldn't fucking make it up.
No, in actual fact, I'm pretty sure that in these great big places where you've got the people and working in the civil service, and they'll all be huddling, going, "Have you heard this one?"
Well, that's exactly what happens. The minister comes up with a daft idea, goes and speaks to the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary goes, "I didn't bother, minister. You sit there, we all sort that right out." Fucking shredder. Carry on to normal. But you and I know that's how it works, Stephen. You know, that is actually how it fucking works. You know.
Oh dear, goodness me. God help us.
Wait, I mean, some of the shit that would have happened here in the UK if it wasn't for these permanent secretaries would be bonkers. You know, absolutely bonkers. You know. So it would. Yeah, the civil service is the glue that holds the whole lot together. And even they're starting to get pissed off to the point where they're suing the government.
Yeah, correct. Yes. There you go.
No real. But to say that does show you the mechanisms and the ministries. That thing, it's quite an accurate portrayal of how the construct of government is made.
Yeah, it is. Because you actually start to see the conservative way is to come in the morning and go, "I've got a good idea," and what is that, Mr. Whatever,
Aye. What's that, Prime Minister? Aye. No what? Who know? Oh, I never thought of that. That's a permanent secretary's job. Keep these bums' heads. But it appears that they're selecting their own permanent secretaries now and all. So they're getting just as many headbangers. I would say, what do you call him? The one that went to Barnard Castle. What was his name again? That spanner.
Oh yeah, Dominic Guns. Yep.
That was his idea. We'll do away with the permanent secretaries and put spads out the tap at them. You know what I mean? Man, poor. Brilliant. So
is it on YouTube? The Yes Prime Minister is on YouTube. If nobody's noticed that, Wolfpet's put that up. So thank you, Wolfpet.
Yes Minister and Yes Prime Ministers, two of them are both working.
Yeah.
And as I say, but it's really got to the point where it's madness. Anyway, we are also hearing that the Chancellor is quietly stripping away the Rwanda money for the budget for Rwanda. It appears this one's not getting off the run, David.
Yeah, well, how many let's just get all this out in the open here, right? How many actual people are going to Rwanda if it all goes well?
200.
200 people, right? Okay. So let's say we've got a budget line, like flight to some place in Africa, even south of that, okay? Let's say it came out to like £1,000, right? So it's 200 people at £1,000 a head, so that's £200,000, right?
That's just fly them there.
Yep. So that's that. Just flying there. That's right. So £200,000, and add on to that all the building cost to house and all the rest of it. Let's place it. Take up the extra 800,000. So that's £1 million. Yeah. How much have the British government wasted on this policy so far, do you think?
367 million quid.
Right. So what they're going to do is they're going to continue burning money as fast as they can up until they
build the houses asylum seekers have been sold.
Yeah. Have they been sold of it?
Yes.
There you go.
And apparently for the amount of money we've spent so far, it's about 1.6 million a head to send them to Rwanda. Just give 1.6 million their folks. And by the way, the UK government's also going to support them for 5 years. When they get there. That's right. They're going to cover their housing costs and their living expenses for 5 years when they get there.
And here, sign the bottom here. This means we can conscript you against the next door neighbours.
See, the one that went to Rwanda wanted to get home anyway. He gave him £3 grand to go.
Yeah.
I think he's back in London and cooking supper. He's seen his mom. You know, a wee trip home for a couple of weeks and then back to London. All at the expense of the UK government. For a week. Let's give him £3,000 a head and ship him out to Rwanda. Watch him get on a plane straight fucking back again. Honestly.
Aye.
Anyway, Starmer says he'll cancel the Rwanda policy. It's not going anywhere anyway. It doesn't need to be cancelled. It might have been passed into law, but that's a bit of legislation that would never ever be exercised. There's nobody else getting on a plane to Rwanda. No chance. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What Labour says they'll process these people. Something like that.
Yeah.
But as I say, on this pledge, launch new border command, security command. This is Starmer's pitch to the English public that he's going to stop the votes. They never learn, did they? Oh, fucking thing.
It'll change in another week or a couple of weeks. He'll say something different, you know.
Nah, John Swinney said that in the theatre. You know. Starmer's one of he scares me more than these Tories, to be honest with you, David. I mean, these are this lot, the ragtag bag that's left down that road with these Tories, the rats and the sack fighting each other. Starmer worries me more than them. As far as I can see,
you know what's coming out of the Tories. You know what's going to come out of the Tories.
Yeah,
whereas with Starmer, you don't, you know.
I think he's more right wing and more authoritarian. If you look at the way he's restructured and the way he runs the Labour Party.
Yeah.
That is bloody terrifying. You know, the way he's purged the left to make room for the right. The way he's courting Tory MPs to defect to the Labour Party.
Yeah.
This one worries me. I mean, on his new set of pledges, there's a crackdown on antisocial behaviour. That's him telling the people of England that he isn't going to let up on the Tory policy to ban public protest. He knows there's unrest coming down that road as living standards plummet. And we all this carry on about we're out of recession. To be fair, it was a technical recession. We weren't that deep in. But when you are celebrating 0.4% growth for the first quarter of the year is magical, your economy's in shite state. And it is going to get worse. As we know, food prices are on the move again.
Yeah.
And with inflation down, wage inflation won't be as high. Get into the next round of pay negotiations. So people just skim. Simple as that, they skim. But launch new border security command. That's him telling the English, I'm safe on the borders, which was the debate we were having at Prime Ministers yesterday. Labour's no plan to keep the border safe, Says Prime Minister that's got open fucking borders. Imagine standing there at that lectern, dispatch folks, whatever they want to call it, in Westminster, giving it, you have no plan to keep the country safe, but we have. The man standing there is presiding over open fucking borders. Sunak and the Tories are presiding over open borders, and they're telling Labour they don't have a plan. Well, apparently they have a plan. Launch new border security command. Whatever the fuck that means. What I didn't notice about the pledges was nothing in there for workers. What happened to his new deal for workers in 100 days? That's not in his pledges. That's not in his pledges for the first term in government.
I wouldn't take anything that Keir Starmer says going into an election as being written on tablets of stone. He's going to do absolutely nothing for the British workman.
Aye, fuck. Right, let's move on because we're running out of time, David. And as you know, I start work shortly.
Yep.
Right, Russia set to take Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Summer offensive is underway and it looks as if Russia's winning. How long can the plucky Ukrainians hang out? No, until they run out of people, until they run out of men.
Well, I have heard it will be until we get into the first bit of cold weather after the summer.
Aye. And then it'll
Yeah.
sort of cap down a bit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. There's no way that the Ukrainians can all do it. If Putin really wants to steamroll them, he can.
Yeah.
You know? They're doing well holding them back at the moment. But the world's losing interest.
Yeah.
The world's losing interest. And as countries get poorer, there will not be the money available to support Ukraine. There is going to have to be a diplomatic solution, and the quicker they get to it, the better, because people are dying for very little reason at this point in time.
Well, you again look back to that situation where a ship was taken full of ammunition, small cartridge ammunition for guns, for handguns, and instead of it being given to the Israelis, it was given to the Ukrainians. They actually moved it onto another ship and took it all the way around the world to Ukraine,
Right.
so they would have more bullets for their guns. So that tells you what America are trying to do. America are trying to keep both Israel and Ukraine open as their route to proxy power.
Aye.
So they don't have to put American boots on the ground.
Yes.
It would be disastrous for them to put American boots on the ground in Ukraine, because that then would bring in the NATO partnership. But there you go. But in Israel, they can put American boots on the ground, but will not.
Yes.
Because they think the Israelis are batshit crazy enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye, they don't need any more lunatics in that fucking playground, do they?
Correct. Absolutely.
Let's face it, we've got blood-soaked Sunak, blood-soaked Starmer, we've got a genocide Joe, and the devil himself, Netanyahu, all playing in that fucking playground. Don't need any more nut jobs in there.
Yeah.
And but see, the Ukraine situation is quite funny. It really is. I mean, weapons being seized in the Middle East and sent to Ukraine because the Yanks don't want to put their hold in their pocket. How long is that going to go for?
Yeah, but David, the Yanks are looking over their shoulder at how the petrodollar's doing, and they know that's a shrinking resource.
Yes.
And it's going to. I think the Americans are expecting to lose big style over the next 5 to 10 years.
Aye. Anyway, talk about Netanyahu. Let's move on to the situation in Gaza. United Nations begin hearings. Begin a hearing to halt the onslaught in Rafah. Netanyahu's no paying a fucking blind bit of attention to anybody. Genocide Joe's telling him not to go into Rafah, and he went in anyway.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing you might have seen in your social media feed, David, big this week, is the Israeli police are standing by and letting what they're calling activists destroy the food on the trucks that are trying to get through crossings to feed the people of Gaza.
Yeah.
And it would appear that the Israelis have shut the Rafah crossing.
Yeah.
And it would also, we're being told that the US and UK floating jetty to get food in bypassing the Israelis is now complete. And aid should be coming off the boats and in the waters off Gaza.
So, okay, all right. You built a good picture there, right? Now tell me, the floating port or dock that the Americans have put together, right? What do you think the Israelis are going to do about that?
Just blow off the fucking face of the earth.
Correct.
Or as the trucks go into the Gaza Strip, they'll just blow them up. They'll just blow them up. You know what I mean? It would appear that Netanyahu is hell bent on starving these people to death or just murdering them one way or another.
Yeah.
You know, for him, disease and famine works better because it's not, you know, it doesn't involve military hardware or anything. You know, it saves money just to starve the poor fuckers to death.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh dear, man, it's dreadful. It really is. You know, I've gone into hospital to get part of my leg removed, right? Now, I had the best of the other hospital services, a spinal block and all the rest of it to deal with the pain. Can you imagine a kid going through that without any painkillers?
God, David, I can't. It's horrendous.
It's beyond me. Bloody hell, man.
It is horrendous. As I say, Netanyahu needs to be tried before the international courts, and the fucker needs to be thrown in the Hague forever.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I must admit, I was a bit shocked when I heard you saying, I know for a fact it's something you wouldn't and couldn't do now, but you said it's enough to make you feel like tooling up and heading out there.
Oh, I'm not fitting too up headed there the day. That's the way it did make me feel.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the Ukraine one wouldn't make me want to tool up and go and defend Ukraine.
Yeah.
But children, women and children in Gaza, I had tool up, they bother again there.
Yeah.
They bother. Right, David, we've come more or less to the end of our offer. It was good to have you back with us today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're back with us on Monday afternoon, which brings us to a point, folks. We'll have a look at your comments, and Monday and Thursday will now be synchronised at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It gives David a better chance to get his gym work done in the morning and a better chance to join us.
Yeah.
While he's in the hospital. So, that's not bad, David. 2:30 watching us at the end of the show live. That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
So next one will be 4 o'clock on Monday, folks. Okay.
4 o'clock Monday.
4 o'clock rather than 2 o'clock Monday.
Now, if you like what we did, please hit the like button. And if you haven't done it before, please subscribe to the channel. By subscribing to the channel means that any ads that go out in the channel that generate money give us more money, right? That gives us more money at the time, right? So therefore,
Hi, Reagan Elite. People check out Reagan Elite's YouTube channel. The boy's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, well, David, that reminds us, once Leslie's back and you're home, you need to sort out the monetisation, because at the moment we're not making any income from ads or super chats.
Yeah.
Well, demonetised at the moment, but I know you've got all that information in back in your man cave, so you can't stop out the way you're.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate thing. I'm in the hospital, and I really can't do anything whilst in the hospital. All right, so well, let me say it first. Bye, Davie.
Bye, David. Now, folks,
bye, guys.
Don't forget to share. Have a nice day. See you all Monday. Don't forget, new time, 4 o'clock. I'll be putting the notification up in a minute.